Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us right around the world. It's your favourite night of the week. And not just because you got to listen to myself and my good mate Rob Pearson tonight, but it's round 2 of the SRL Project Cars 2 Season 3 of the Asia Pacific League. And tonight we're here from the beautiful Long Beach circuit in California. And after a great start to the season last week for our man Formula One Rocks, can he continue a perfect run here at Long Beach? That's right, a perfect record here at this Long Beach street circuit. And without any further ado, it's time to introduce my co-commentator. He made his debut last week and absolutely killed it. I speak of none other than Rob Pearson. And Rob Dog, great to have you back for another week, mate.
Yeah, cheers, Trev. It's looking like a fantastic race tonight. It's got a bit of history, this circuit. It's in the early 70s. You know, we had Formula 5000. Late 70s, early 80s, we had Formula 1, IndyCar, and now we have SRL on the circuit. So it's going to be a good race, and let's see if Jono can protect that perfect run.
Fantastic stuff there. You can see the circuit on your screen. 3.86 kilometres, 11 turns. And tonight being the first of the super sprint rounds, of course, which means 2 10-minute qualifying sessions, 2 14-lap races. And if you're new to SRL, big hello to you. Damage is performance impacting, fuel is on, tyre wear is accelerated, also a mandatory pit stop as well. So we're getting ready to go racing here. Like we mentioned, first of the super sprint rounds tonight, round 2 out of 11. And the points format, we might mention quickly, Rob, before we recap last week's results. The normal rounds and enduro rounds, of course, feature the F1 style point system, but we do things a little bit differently in the super sprint rounds. We've got a different point system, in fact, reduced points for these super sprint rounds, Rob.
Yeah, I think, you know, with those reduced points, there's people going to be taking a lot of risks, especially in the super sprint round. You can't let off at any moment. 14 laps of pretty much pure qualifying speed, and I mean we're in qualifying right now, but you're going to see some really hectic racing in the next 10 minutes. So that's going to be something to look forward to. We've got Sub just coming out on the circuit here, coming into the first quarter, and that's a strange pit lane there. But yeah, let's see what these guys could do. I think the fastest lap time we've had so far is about a minute 14.6, which is about 0.2 off the world record time on the PlayStation with these cars. So that's going to be interesting to see. Let's see who can beat it, because Truss, he's on the ball. He's come up from the second division of our league up to the first one since he won it last week, and he was matching the pole time of Formula One Rocks. So yeah, let's see what he can do and see if he can bring some spice to an already spicy league.
There's always that chance to get upgraded, isn't there? Tier 2 driver Trust last week, currently now in Tier 1. And just recapping as we see the cars out on the circuit in the early going in this first qualifying session here at Long Beach. Just to recap, like we've already mentioned, it was Formula One Rocks last week taking the win at Imola ahead of Kart Dude, who is not here tonight. Apparently he's taking delivery of a new go-kart, so congratulations to him. Waffles and Bit snuck in for a podium finish ahead of Righty, and then our former commentator, or my former co-commentator, Jason Wilkinson, was in 5th. He was in the wars, our man Wilco, ahead of HSV in 6th, Fubbles in 7th, then it was V8 Man in 8th. And Mighty Murph in 9th, who didn't get much of a mention. He wasn't too happy about not getting too much of a mention on the stream last week, but we'll try and do better this week. Big hello to you, our favourite Kiwi. I know Nemo won't like me saying that, ahead of Nige Guns taking the final points-paying position in 10th. But he raced a lot better than P10 would suggest last week, Rob.
Yeah, kind of feel sorry for him. He had so much pace and he was up there for the first part of the race. He just had it coming together with the car, and it just ruined his race. But let's see what he can do tonight. I think he's got a fantastic chance of getting some really good points, or even just winning the race. But he's got some competition on the circuit, doesn't he, Trev?
No doubt about that. I guess enough about last week's results. It's today that matters. And don't forget, everybody watching the live stream, we all love you. You know that. We say it each and every week. Big hello to CA Elliott, Rick Elliott, plenty of Elliots on there. Wilco just popping in. Of course, I'm commenting as my... I'm actually commenting as the wrong channel, but anyway, never mind about that. So great to have you all on board on the live stream, and get your comments, questions, feedback, whatever you like, get it into us, and we'll try and answer that throughout the course of the evening. Now, you mentioned these shorter qualifying sessions, Rob. Very exciting for everyone watching at home, all of our viewers. They're short, sharp, punchy sessions, and you've got to get out there and set a time nice and early. And if you don't, there can be pressure on you later in the session as, well, look at that, 3.5 minutes already gone in this one. And we mentioned the world record time on the PS4 around this circuit being a 1:14.4. I guess race times, we're looking at maybe low 1:15s, 1:16s. There's a Mighty Murph there currently with a 1:15.8, but you'd reckon, Rob, that that's going to drop significantly in the final minutes of this session.
Yeah, certainly. You get two different types of drivers, people who really like the sprint round. So with the sprint round, you're going to get a really reduced qualifying, or you get the endurance rounds with a little bit more time to get used to the circuit. And we've got a car turned around there, but yeah, you have a lot more time to get used to the car and the circuit during the endurance round. So these guys haven't had much experience, done a little bit of practice, but it's going to be down to them in these last couple of minutes. As we see Mighty Murph just going to the gate road there, really struggling to get that Corvette pulled up, but he's still got the fastest time at the top. But it's going to be very interesting. You get two, as I said, you get two different drivers. You know, you get people who really, really love this sort of sprint style. Me, not so much. It's great to watch on the telly, but to participate for me, it's big slide from Righty there. To participate in it is a little bit too stressful to me. I just like taking my time, but it's great for us to watch, isn't it?
Yep, I'm with you. Slow and steady wins the race, but tell you what, the fans at home absolutely love this as we see our man from Tier 2 last week and making his debut in Tier 1 tonight, Truss 1984. And boy, look at that, he's still continuing his good form from last week there, Rob, with a 1:15.5, just a tenth quicker than the podium finisher last week, Waffles, but fantastic stuff. And Truss, he is on the pace in the early going here tonight.
Yeah, he is, mate. He's going to be certainly a dark horse for this one. I think I put really good money on him to come away with at least one win here. I mean, he's so quick. None of us expected that we put him in the second tier, but he's in the main tier now, and he's really putting it to the other guys, well-established guys like Waffles and Formula Rocks. That hey, I'm here to party. Let's get this thing rock and rolling.
And he's doing very well so far, like we mentioned, currently sitting on provisional pole position with just over 4 minutes remaining in this first qualifying session. Now, early on in the season, of course, but we might just quickly take our viewers through the Constructors' Championship, or the Teams' Championship here in this SRL season. It's Formula One Rocks and V8 Man out front for Shake and Bake Racing on 29 points. Jason Wilkinson and Righty for Team Victoria Bitter on 22 points, 7 points behind them. It's Kart Dude, who's not here tonight, like we said, again, Sub GT Racer for Sodi on 18. Then it's Casting Couch Racing on 15 ahead of Mist, HSV and Mighty Murph there on 10 points. Fubbles and Nige Guns. Could have been so much more for Nige Guns last week, like we've already mentioned. They're on 7 points ahead of Full Customs Motorsport and Team Kiwi Racing, who are sitting at the bottom, and they won't be too happy about that, on 0 points. As we take a look at last week's winner, Formula One Rocks, we mentioned earlier Jono. You're not Jono, you're Rob. He's Jono. He currently has a perfect record here at Long Beach. Are we going to see that continue here tonight? He's a very hard man to beat around here.
Yeah, mate, I've done really well around here with the Ford Falcon, but
no, that's a bit of a joke there. No, he's really consistent around here. He's got to watch out for, and I mean, if people like Waffles or Trust don't get their car just right, this guy's got to take it out. He's got a perfect record around here. I don't see him giving up that easily, but I do believe he's got a little injury on him at the moment, so that might hamper his progress.
Well, apparently, we don't want to say too much. We don't want to give away too much information to the competition, but he is coming into tonight under an injury cloud, everyone out there watching. He does have a swollen ankle, like you said, Rob, due to a bad sprain on his left foot. And who knows, his braking might be a little bit off since he may have to use his right foot, which is a little bit slower. But, well, Thursday night, you might say I've got Jono on my mind. Not as bad as last week, Rob, when I called you a Kiwi. But anyway, we've moved on from that. So 2 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Like we mentioned, Formula One rocks are 1:14.979. The first man to dip into the 1:14s in this qualifying session. And don't these cars look absolutely beautiful as the sun sets here at Long Beach. This beautiful circuit in the great state of California. And coming onto the main straight now, Waffles and Bits, 2/10 behind Formula One rocks. Can he just pip him to pole position? Here he comes across the line. And he might just be starting a hot lap there, Rob.
Yeah, most likely he's going to be starting a hot lap, or that was his hot lap. So, you know what? It's still not a bad result for him. Second is, I mean, you're going to be right next to the guy in first in the grid. So, he's got a chance here. I mean, if he gets a good enough start against Formula One rocks, you know, he can beat him to the first corner. And I know that Waffles has been practicing his starts, certainly against me, because I'm a bit of a rocket on the old grid line. He complains about it all the time, so he's been practicing that for the whole year. But it's going to be interesting to see. And can I just say, I've got a couple of shout-outs to give Trev, because I've been threatened with my life. My mates Rick Elliott and Connor Elliott are watching tonight. So is the missus. But Rick Elliott said he will probably behead me on camera if I don't give him a shout-out. So shout-out to those guys, and hopefully they're enjoying the live stream. But yeah, we've got some really good action here, and Long Beach is a bit of a weird circuit, Trev. If you've noticed, the stuff that the guys are driving on isn't really tarmac. It's sort of like a mixture between concrete. So it's a little bit more slippery than a normal circuit, a little bit more slippery than Imola. So it's good to have a good car set up. But yes, you're going to see guys really battling with cars tonight, I reckon.
Yep, street circuit like you mentioned there, Rob, as well. So bumpy, a bit uneven, a bit unpredictable. And speaking of that, perfect timing as someone's off in the background there. And as Truss comes into the pit lane, so currently P3 for him as we tick down the end of qualifying. And, well, the big shout-out. Geez, that sounded a little bit serious there, Rob, saying you were going to get beheaded. A touch of ISIS about it. But big hello, Grace, Letitia as well, Elliot. There's plenty of Elliots, like we said. Big hello to everybody on the stream. Thumbs up. Hands are plenty, and we're just getting positive feedback on that live stream. But we are done here in qualifying. And where did that session go? That has gone so quickly, hasn't it? The first of two 10-minute qualifying sessions tonight. And I don't think anyone's going to beat Formula One rocks with that 1:14.9 in this first session. I'd also like to say if I sound a little bit different tonight, it's because I'm coming off the back of a bit of a touch of the flu. Touch of the man flu. I did the only thing that a commentator should do, and that was I went down to the liquor store and purchased a large bottle of Scotch whiskey, and that has been my cough medicine. But anyway, that's a story for another day. As we see that the qualifying session over, Rob, and look at that, Formula One rocks continuing his good form from last week. He's on pole position for race one.
Yeah, he loves this place, mate. You know, he's unbeaten around here, so it's going to take a lot of work from Waffles and even Truss there to get past him. But you know what? It's motorsport. He can make a mistake if he's under pressure. You know, he could be tonight. Could be the night that he loses his record. I mean, I hope he doesn't. He's a good racer and he's a good clean racer. But boy, we want to see somebody give him a good challenge tonight.
So here we go. There we go. The cars lined up on the grid. Ready for race one here at Long Beach in California. We are just waiting for the lights to go out, and it will be the start of round two of this already enthralling season here for SRL Project Cars 2. Great to have your company with us here tonight. Like I said, apologies if I sound a little bit different, but anyway, never mind about that. We'll push through that as Formula One rocks on pole position ahead of Waffles, who finished third last week, ahead of the new boy, Truss. Is he going to put some pressure on F1 rocks heading down into turn one? Sub GT behind him. Then it's V8 man in P5. Jason in P6. Plenty of close times in that midfield. Let's hope that Jace can have a cleaner race than what he did last week. Of course, not all of his own making. Then it's Mighty Murph in 7th. Righty in 8th. Nige in 9th. A little bit further down than what he was last week in Imola. Fubbles completing the top 10. Then it's HSV Womp and Mickey now, as we just wait for these lights to come on, Rob. The tension is absolutely killing me here.
Yeah, the tension's always a bit of a hard thing to to wait for. I mean, these guys are doing the last little checks of their setup, so they're making the cars a little bit more stable from their qualifying setup, a little bit more softer anti-roll bar, so they're not slipping and sliding about the place. But you don't want to get that wrong. There's plenty of people who have got that wrong in the past, and they've had a terrible wretched race. But here we go.
Here we go. We're ready to go racing here. Round 2 of SRL Season 3 at Long Beach. We are ready. The engines roar. And they are away.
Whoa.
And a bad start from Formula 1 Rocks there off the line. And that sees him engulfed by the top two guys. And there's contact at the back. My Lord, look at that. 3 cars out, all at the back. And there is bodywork flying everywhere as Waffles takes the lead through turn 1, heading into turn 2. Sub GT has slotted into P2. Then it's Formula 1 Rocks. A bad start from him in P3. Then V8 Man has moved his way up to P4 ahead of Fubbles at Nige Guns in P6. What a start here at Long Beach, Rob.
Yeah, it's always chaos on the start line here, mate. You always get that one car that doesn't move as quickly as the guys behind it would like. It's hard to get a start here, especially with the slippery concrete on these circuits, and you will end up with an incident like that. But you know what, the race isn't over. It's only the first race of 2 tonight. They're going to probably just use it as a bit of a practice to try and get the car a little bit more tighter for them in the upcoming qualifying session race. But Formula 1 Rocks, oh, we got V8 Man having a big slide there. He's going to get passed by 2 cars, 3 cars, maybe 4 cars. So the guys behind him are going to really enjoy that little gift there that he's given them. It's really hard. Oh, we got a car. Wow, who is that? It's V8 Man with a bit of damage there. So that's hampered his race. I feel sorry for him.
V8 Man missing some bodywork coming in. What a chaotic opening lap here at Long Beach. Nemo's not happy either, and well, I didn't catch everyone who was involved in that first lap incident, but anyway, cars are in the pit lane, cars are spinning, bodywork's all over the place. What a hectic couple of laps we've had, and we're barely into this race, Rob.
Yeah, as I said, I'm not 100% surprised by that. But I think our man Jason, he's gotten involved in that accident as well. So he'll be absolutely livid to see him coming in for a pit stop there just to get that car repaired so he can get back on the circuit. But there's going to be some lap traffic, I think, for the top 3 to contend with. Waffles is 1.7 seconds ahead of Formula 1 Rocks. Formula 1 Rocks has got himself past Fubbles there. So he's going to be starting his fight back, certainly. But it'll be interesting to see what this lap traffic does for the leaders here. We've got Waffles here for a mandatory pit stop. He doesn't have to change tyres, but he's going to lose 40 seconds there. But that could be a good strategy there. Just use that time to get away from the back markers, get some clean air, think about what he's going to do for the rest of the race.
Apologies for my coughing fit there, Rob. You're absolute champion for taking over. But yeah, pit stop there is about 40 seconds, Rob, with no tyre change. But of course, damage might come into play as well. As lap 3 out of 14. Here we go at Long Beach. It's all happening here, as they say. And you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Rob, anything can happen in motorsport, and it usually does. And wow, the comments coming through on the live stream. Big Alan Shep says that Jason won't be a happy camper. That, of course, is Jason's co-worker there. Big Alan, we love you. Kart Dude and Nemo not happy with their respective incidents as they come onto the main straight. I'm still losing my voice again. Apologies for everyone at home. But lap 3 out of 14. Formula 1 Rocks. Look at that. He's back in the lead, Rob. What is going on there? 6 seconds. Lap 3.
Yeah, he's back in the lead. As we know, he's a bit of a specialist thread here. He's never been undefeated, but, you know, he still has that mandatory pit stop to do, and it's going to put him back to Waffles there. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there and how that plays out. But, gee, I think if you're going to have a bet and gamble responsibly, we don't have betting here, but if you're going to have a bet, you're going to have to put it on Formula 1 Rocks here, because he's gotten away with the first incident there, and he's got no damage. He just has to come for a stop-and-go pit stop. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And we got not much action on the circuit. We've got Nige Guns coming up the righty here. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Oh, hello. Actually, we might have an on-track battle here. I think Righty has a little moment there. It's a bit hard on the circuit to apply the power down due to its nature of being really, really slippery. So if you try and get on that loud pedal early, you're going to put that car into a little bit of a tank slapper. So it'll be interesting to see what Righty can do to defend from Nige Guns here.
Here we go, the battle's on. We saw a lot of good battles last week. Oh, there we go, there's contact between the two of them. I tell you what, everybody's dipping their bread into it tonight, and there's contact down the main street. I tell you what. Oh, this is incredible. There's been more off-track action than on-track action. I tell you what, it's someone else's around now. It's Righty. What a crazy race. I tell you what. Oh, I tell you what, they've had their porridge this morning because I'm not too sure what's been going on with them, but there's a lot of feisty action out there as we've just got the Tier 1 results from qualifying. I'll just quickly mention that, Rob, Smokey, Tooley, Def Dude, Pointy 74, Net 83, Compact, and Race 1. It was Tooley from Pointy 74 ahead of Compact, Smokey, Def Dude, and Net 83. Thank you very much for supplying those results. Lap 5 out of 14. And I tell you what, I'd hate to be picking up the repair bill from this race, Rob, because it's been absolute carnage in the opening 5 laps of this one. Oh, I tell you what, I've lost, I tell you what, I thought losing my voice was bad enough, but not half as bad as what some of these drivers are going through here tonight. Now, as we ride on board with the official cameraman, our man Womp.
Yeah, he's going to be happy with picking up some positions there. All he had to do was avoid some carnage. It does look like he's got a bit of damage on his car, but boy, I think he's going to be a bit happy with himself just trying to getting those free positions. But boy, he's putting some pressure on Nige Guns here. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get that Porsche, which a lot of people have been having a bit of trouble around here with. I had a bit of a practice with it tonight. It's not a bad car, but we know Womp is on the controller, so it'll be interesting to see if he can keep that thing straight enough to get past old Nige Guns there, mate.
He will be. Is he going to have a go down through the last corner of the hairpin at turn 11? Onto East Shoreline Drive, and the start-finish straight through to complete lap 5 for Womp. And he will be furiously pressing R2, L2 and those dual shock sticks as he tries to have a go for the P2, actually. My goodness me, boy, hasn't he come up the field tonight. Nige Guns then back in more familiar territory to where he was last week after a poor qualifying session, but that's the secret, isn't it, Rob, in this race? If you can just avoid the carnage, keep your nose clean and keep all 4 wheels pointing in the right direction, you might be on for a podium tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when you put 14 guys who are really, really quick in the same session. They're gonna give each other a bit of biffo. They want to get past each other, and you're going to end up with massive accidents. It's like putting 14 prepubescent boys in the same room and expecting them not to fight with each other. I think they're going to be a bit angry with me calling them prepubescent boys, but boy, I don't think you could disagree with that.
No doubt about that. Oh, here we go, V8 man. Just sizing up Fubbles there in P5. And I tell you what, V8 man, as we watch him on your screen, I tell you what, some of these cars, Rob, it looks like someone's taking to him with a sledgehammer, because some of them are in a very bad way. Like I said, I'd hate to be picking up the repair bill, but never mind about that. That's not our problem. As we take a look at V8 man now, Grace watching her man, currently in P6. I think the rule is he has to finish P5 or above if he gets dinner tonight. And he might just, I tell you what, look at that, they're very close, aren't they? Fubbles in P5, V8 man in P6. And yes, we are, Alan Shep there. Big Al, hello to you. Bit of a cat fight out there tonight. There sure is, no doubt about that. And amongst the carnage now, Formula One Rocks has managed to take a 23-second lead out front. And currently the only man in the 1:16s with his lap times. But here goes V8 man now. Is he going to have a go at Fubbles down into turn 1?
Well, I mean, he's certainly going to give it a go. I mean, Fubbles, I think Fubbles is behind him in the bed actually there. So it's Fubbles actually trying to make the move on V8 man, but as you can see, a bit of lag there for Fubbles. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I remember Earlier in the night before the broadcast started, mate, we said we weren't going to get too excited, especially here to protect your throat, but I think you're going to be a bit croaky tomorrow morning.
I certainly am. Yes, that's right. In case you're just tuning in now, the dulcet tones of yours truly won't be quite so golden this week after coming off a pretty bad case of the flu. But never mind about that. Lap 7 out of 14. It's not about me. It's about those 16 drivers out there on the circuit at the moment. Half the race gone, half still to go. And V8 man there, and looked as if it might have been, is that HSV behind him, or are we looking at V8 man? I beg your pardon at the moment. Coming onto that main straight, there was HSV further behind him. Fubbles, of course, that was, as they come across to complete lap 7 into lap 8 of this race. Just 6 laps remaining. There's a couple more cars in the pit lane there off to the right-hand side, or the left-hand side of your screen. Only 10 cars remaining there as we've just had it pointed out on the live stream. So HSV, what's he done now? P6, 3 seconds behind V8 man, a long way in front of Waffles, who's a fair way behind him, and 6 laps to go now. He is catching V8 man, in fact, and well, I tell you what, action aplenty, like we've said in the opening 8 laps of this race. That's what you expect in the super sprint rounds. Short, sharp, punchy races with no holes barred action. These drivers not giving an inch tonight. In fact, taking a few, you might say, as here we go, lap 9. Well, lap 8 for HSV, still coming down the back straight now, approaching turn 9. And turns 9, 10 and 11, very technical on this circuit. After you come off East Seaside Way, HSV just keeping his distance there from the bent rear wing of V8 man onto the main straight. So most drivers seem to have made a pit stop so far. In fact, a lot of drivers came in early on in this race. And now 5 laps to go. Well, I tell you what, this is probably about the closest battle on track, Rob. There's not too much else happening after those frantic opening few laps.
Yeah, I've got to say, this is probably the closest one on track, but then again, we've got Sub and Nige Guns there getting pretty close with each other, so it's going to be interesting what happens there. But yeah, as you said, it's a very tight technical circuit, mate. You know, you can't put a foot wrong here. I mean, you come up to this corner here, you ideally want to hit that ripple strip on the inside and give the car a little bit of a turn. Use the ripple strips around here to give the car a little bit of turn in, but you can overdo it. And then you can see it's mostly 90-degree circuit here, so oh, we got a bit of a lag spike there. It's a bit of a bummer, but coming up to turn 8 onto East Side Way. Now, if that sounds like a street name, it is, because it is a street circuit, and the Americans couldn't think of any corner names for the circuit because they're a little bit simple, but we can call them turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3, so it's not so bad. We've got HSV there just rubbing the wall. And going backwards and forwards. I think we're going to go to the battle with Sub and Nige there, because that was playing up with me eyesight.
It was. It wasn't doing me any favours either, my good man, because I tell you what, he was acting like a bit of a pinball there, wasn't he, bouncing off the walls. And I tell you what, we've just paid out on a few people tonight. We've paid out on New Zealand. I think now we're picking on the Americans as well. But Sub GT Racer now in P2. That gap going down. Have a look at that. Formula One rocks. And, gee, that is going down quickly, isn't he? He's in the pit lane, of course.
Oh, that's because he's in the pit lane, yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what Sub GT can do here. If he's got enough pace to get past him in the pit lane, I'm assuming he will, but gee, it's going to be interesting to see how long this pit stop will be. And of course, because he's joined the lobby a little bit earlier than everybody else, he's got his pit box a little bit closer to the pit exit, so he doesn't have to worry about trundling all the way down and stopping and getting caught up in traffic. But Sub GT is in front of him, so Formula One Rocks is dropping down a third there, so it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. We know he's got the pace, we know he's got the experience around here. He is undefeated after all, and well, I'm sorry if I keep bringing that up, but that's an unbelievable run for somebody to be undefeated around a circuit with how many times SRL has actually visited the circuit. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do.
So, of course, the big question in terms of strategy, as you said, Rob, Formula One Rocks coming out in P3, and you can mention that stat as many times as you bloody well like, because that is absolutely huge. That's right, 100% perfect record for Formula One Rocks here at Long Beach. But Interesting strategy-wise, those hard tyres, more consistent, but soft tyres are a couple of tenths quicker a lap for the first 5 laps or so. But the only problem with that, of course, Rob, is they'll be 100% worn by the end, where you get more longevity out of the hard tyres. So strategy, like at every race circuit, always interesting. And lap 11 out of 14, Nige Guns and Sub GT still to pit, Rob. So they've really got to try and get that lead out as much as possible in the last few laps before they stop.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So, yeah, Sub and Nige will have to pit eventually, and Formula 1 Rocks will re-inherit the lead. But, you know, as I said, anything can happen. We've seen plenty of crashes tonight. Nige got a little bit of a rear-end slide there. As you can see, the front of the car started pointing towards the fence when he went around that corner. So his tyres are definitely going off. The soft tyre around here, as you said, is a lot quicker than the hard tyre. This is the preferred tyre to be on. I think I'm sure the whole field would be on the soft tyre, but it wears very, very quickly. So you've got to deal with not only walls being millimetres away from the car, but you've got to deal with the car wanting to slide into those walls and causing some carnage. And as if we haven't had enough of that tonight, I'm pretty sure we might see some more of it.
We've had enough carnage to last a lifetime, no doubt about that. As we've just been reliably informed as well, Rob, on the live stream that Nige and Sub yet to pit. We know that. Truss and Waffles have combined the two. Excuse me. And Sub all getting jump starts, which did cause that collision at turn 1, on lap 1, I should say. In fact, so comments still coming in on the live stream. Julian saying this is quite different from Formula 1. I reckon we've had more accidents at the start of this race than the entire Formula 1 season so far. And Neil Haynes 05 saying, great job, guys. Great to see my fellow Aussies organising and running a great league on Project Cars 2. Great to get those comments in, Rob.
Yeah, it's great to see those comments. And Neil Haynes, if you're looking for commentators, me and Trev will commentate for you with maybe a carton of beer each every time we commentate. But yeah, it's good to have an Australian league. We always see these European leagues and American leagues on Project Cars. Oh, we got Formula Rocks just passes Nige anyway. Nige hasn't come in for that pit stop, and Formula Rocks said, "Nah, I'm not having this. I'm going to get past you and show you what I can do, and show you those 2 beautiful lights on the sculpted rear of that Ford GT."
I tell you what, that is bloody magnificent. Formula 1 Rocks passes him and just says, stuff you, I'm coming through, I'm quicker than you, and I'm better than you, and I'm up into P2. Absolutely fantastic stuff as well. We do our best here, Neil. Great to have your comment. And Alan, just Big Al wanting to know whether you're having scones, jam and cream, Jace, considering you're out of this one. I didn't want to really bring that up. It's a little bit awkward, isn't it? As Formula 1 Rocks streams back into the lead. Perfect timing on the last lap of this race, Rob. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, he's done a good job. He's kept his nose clean, and that's what you want around here. I mean, it's a very racy circuit, but you know, it's really hard to do it with 14 cars on the grid at the start of the race. I mean, first lap incidents are going to happen around here, but I didn't expect to see a car flying almost over the fence, which was really spectacular to watch. But my lord, and Connor Elliott there, my mate Connor Elliott, said, how many leprechauns have you run over, Jason? I don't think he's run over leprechauns because they don't exist, but I think he's broken some mirrors.
Oh, I tell you what, thanks for that comment. I tell you, oh, someone's stolen me gold. Anyway, just to quickly, by the way, lap 14, geez, where has this race gone? I've just got to put in a counter offer on what you said a moment ago, Rob, because I reckon 100 grand, a company car and a case of beer, Neil, and you've got yourself a deal. Here we go, though. It's all about Formula 1 Rocks around the last corner, out of the last corner, on to the start-finish straight to take victory here at Long Beach and continue his perfect run at this circuit in SRL Project Cars 2. But the battles aren't over. Have a look at this. Fubbles, Sub and Waffles all together there.
Waffles on the outside here. You can get a bit of grip. He's going to go around the outside of Sub GT. No, he isn't. Sub GT is holding him off, and they've collided. Waffles is going to get a free place off Bubbles there, and it's going to be interesting to see what the drag race does down to the line. We know that Matt has a speed, but oh my lord, he tries to take him out of the line. That's a bit of Michael Schumacher stuff there, isn't it, mate?
Unbelievable stuff. That's right. That's the sort of action you get here if you're watching this live stream and this season and this championship. In fact, second, third and fourth all battling for the podium places. And here comes HSV. We haven't forgotten about you, my mate, the big New South Welshman, who I see every year down at the Grand Prix. What a magnificent man he is, Dean McKinnon, across the line. We haven't forgotten about you, my good man. He finishes in P7. And as we wait for Womp, who's just...
Womp has stopped it on the side of the road. I don't know what's happened there, but we got Mickey SR33, and oh wow, the time ran out. So we got some people who didn't complete the last lap, but you know what?
Well,
what a race.
What a race for everyone watching at home. And after all that action, there's a familiar winner, and that is Formula One Rocks taking victory here tonight by some margin over Sub GT Racer in P2, just ahead of Waffles. And talking about just ahead of somebody, look at that, Fubbles, just 1/10, less than a tenth, 0.99 for P3. And, well, same result as where he finished last week, ahead of Fubbles in fourth, V8 Man in fifth, so he'll be having dinner tonight. That's right, Grace. That is the deal, and stick to it. Nige Guns in 6, P7 for HSV, I love you, man. And Womp in P8, who'd stopped on the circuit strangely, ahead of Mickey in P9, Righty in P10. And let's begin the retirements, Rob. Mighty Murph, that's right, Mighty Murph 51. We've mentioned him twice now on the live stream, ahead of our man Wilco in P12, who also retired. Trust, the new boy, retired. Disappointing for him after a good qualifying session. What a race. And guess what? We've got to do it all over again, Rob.
Yeah, we've got to do it again. For those guys who have retired, you know, I was just surprised they did retire. I would have used that opportunity to get a little bit of track time in, learn the track a little bit more, see where you can pass on the other guys. But, gee, it's, I can't believe we saw so much carnage at the start. I thought we might have seen a spun car, but you know what? This is what happens when you put a couple of angsty boys on the same circuit. You end up with a bit of carnage and biffo. But Formula One Rocks, they're still continuing his unbeaten record around here, which is interesting to see. Sub GT, yeah, he had to come in for that pit stop, but finishing second. Waffles as well, third, and Fubbles fourth. Those guys are going to be really happy with those little bit of points they're going to get from this sprint round. But gee, that shapes up the qualifying and the second race, doesn't it?
It sure does. I tell you what, quick mention for the SRL, Supreme Racing League. That's what it stands for, www.supremeracingleague.com. And if you want to get involved, 2 tiers. I think we're full up in Tier 1, but Tier 2, still some spots available if you want to get racing, or whether you just enjoy listening to myself and Rob Dog every Thursday night from 8 p.m. And like we mentioned, second of the 2 sprint races coming up, as my dog Xena wants to play fetch. No, I'm currently in the middle of a live stream. I will get back to you later. But how hectic was that first bloody race? It was absolutely incredible. And all 13 people currently watching that live stream, what a race you were treated to there. But like we said, if you want to get involved, you can do so on the Supreme Racing League website. A good Aussie bloody league and a good Aussie live stream. That's right. And yes, that's right, Neil. A beer and a barbecue will do very nicely. And I tell you what can we expect, though, Rob, to see here in Race 2? Is Formula One Rocks going to complete, I should say, his perfect record, or are we going to see somebody else come out of the pack and knock him off in Race 2?
That's a good question, and I don't really have an answer for that, but I can tell you for one thing, these chat messages are going off. There's a lot of unhappy campers in there, so I think we probably could expect a little bit more biffo, and I think Truss is a little bit disappointed with his first race for the in the main league here. I think he had a whole bunch of pace, but unfortunately got involved into the what's it called? The roundabout. That's what it's called. Yep. With the garden between it.
I tell you what, just the hashtag watch your rearview mirrors. There are a lot of unhappy campers after all of that argy-bargy. Truss and waffles, if you combine those two like I did a little bit earlier, you get truffles. Geez, I tell you what, how well are we operating here tonight? But geez whiz, I tell you what, over 10 people watching the live stream, 12 in fact now, Rob. We are going global. Like we said, like we always say each and every week, get your comments in and we will try and get to each and every one of you. Wilco, Neil, your mates on there, Rob, the missus is on there, Nemo, Alan Shep, Big Al. Hope you'll be turning up to work tomorrow to give Wilco hell. And, well, as we get ready to the countdown now, we're just waiting for everybody to ready up for race 2. And, well, if it's half as exciting as race 1, Rob, we're going to be in for a treat.
Yeah, I think we're going to be in for a really good treat here. As I said, I think we're going to expect a lot more biffo. I think there's a lot of unhappy campers, and gee, I would want to be qualifying at the front if I was anybody else, because I've never seen so much carnage in one race in my life.
And well, I tell you what, Formula One Rocks didn't even get a great start, did he? He went down to P3, but managed to work his way through the carnage and just get back up to the more familiar spot of P1. And I don't believe he even had a dent or a scratch or a dent on his car at all, despite all of that argy-bargy at the start.
Yeah, I mean, he did a good job keeping that car clean. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when we review this race through the live stream, because I think there's a couple of people complaining about Formula One Rocks maybe not holding his line, but you know what? He did the job. He's got the win. He's still undefeated, which is unbelievable. So let's see what happens with this next qualifying session to see if anybody can pip him. And if I'm going to put money on who can pip him, I think it might be Truss, because he is getting close to that world record time.
I reckon the 1:14.4, that mythical, magical world record mark, that is the lap record here. As Nemo, geez, he's up and about on the stream, on the comments tonight, saying it's a yoke. I don't know whether that's some sort of egg joke, but you might just say, Nemo, you might just say, Rob, that he's starting to crack, really coming out of his shell. Well, I won't say anymore. I don't want to be stepping on eggshells, but we might leave the egg puns there. Sorry. Geez, I tell you what am I doing? I've been taking a few different drugs and about 5 other things. If I start talking funny, Rob, please stop me immediately.
No, I'm not going to do that because the yoke's on you, mate. But, yeah, I don't think Nemo's happy. Nemo's the guy who likes to really get his elbows out. But it'll be interesting to see the guys who aren't happy to come back into the second race, because, you know, when you get into those incidents, as I'm cleaning up a little mess I've just made here, when you get involved in those incidents, you know, sometimes you just want to say stuff it and try again next week. But it'll be good to see those guys come back and see if they can put in results. And we know they're quick enough. We all know they're quick enough, and that we know they're racy enough. But gee, I hope for the sake of people that oh, what's this? Do we have another session going on here?
I'm guessing that we're having a few connection issues. Nemo did say that he hasn't got a invite. And, well, just excuse everybody on the live stream. We're just joining a new session now, if you're wondering why that screen went blue for a little bit. There we go. So we're just in a new lobby now, in a new session. Big Alan saying, come on, Jason, turn it around. And this time he's had a few frothies tonight. Big Al, geez, he's a character. Not sure whether you've seen too much of him, Rob, but one of Wilco's workmates who just loves nothing better than tuning in to the Kid Buyers YouTube channel on a Thursday night and just having a few quiet drinks and listening to you and I go about our business. But we're waiting for all the drivers to get back into this lobby for the second race. And that's the thing we've mentioned throughout the course of this evening, Rob, is that if you have a bad race 1, you can make up for it in race 2. And there is that chance of redemption as we get ready to go racing here for the second of the 2 super sprint races here tonight. So always a chance to make up if something's gone wrong in race 1.
I mean, it's important to make up that lost ground because that's going to play with you mentally. You know, those guys who got caught up in the incident, all I can say is get back on the circuit, put your head down and put your best results forward, because if you miss one night, you can really hamper your progress. I've done it myself. I've missed a night, and the next week I've come along and I've gotten nowhere. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Can Jason not qualify in the mid-pack and get past that carnage again? Because that's the second week in a row that he's been caught up in a big accident, and those guys in the mid-pack might be putting their best foot forward in the qualifying session, trying to get that time out of the cars, because the mid-pack here seems like it's a bit of a just a couple landmines there.
I tell you what, so many questions to be answered here in race 2. Can Formula One Rocks complete his good record? Can Waffles get another podium? Can V8 Man do something? Can Nemo get an invite? So many questions to be answered here tonight as we get ready to go racing. 16 out of 18 drivers are there. And vote to start, please. As Neil says, long season points mean everything. Never a truer word spoken. As C8619 Elliot says, win this one, Jason, and you shall truly be the comeback kid. A bit of Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi style there about that one. But thanks for your comments, and keep sending them in. We love giving everybody a shout out. And here tonight, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are ready to go racing here at Long Beach in California for the second of the 2 sprint rounds races here tonight as part of round 2 of this new season. And boy, season 3. And I've had the pleasure of calling you in the opening couple of seasons, Rob, and it is a fantastic championship, this one. And let me tell you, like we said, always we're looking for new people, get involved. We want to build this up. We've become a bit of a movement here, Rob. And no doubt that some of the racing we've seen has been absolutely incredible so far, even in this season, hasn't it, so far?
Yeah, the race has been incredible. I mean, the first round, you know, we had a brilliant time. First time back from a big break. A little bit rusty on the old call there, but you know, we're getting a little bit better. And gee, that second race, that was filled with carnage. But it'll be good to see if Jason, the comeback kid Miyagi, can get that car going.
Yes, I'm sure he'll be trying to catch those flies with the chopstick. As there we go, Jason Wilkinson talking of a comeback drive. There he is on your screen as the cars get ready to come out on the circuit. I wonder if the track temperatures are going to be a little bit lower, of course. Later in the evening, the sun a little bit lower in the sky here in California. As Nige Gunn's coming out onto the track now in that beautiful looking Corvette in its home environment in the United States of America. So drivers getting out onto the circuit nice and early, looking to set a time nice and early. We mentioned it in the opening session, the opening qualifying session tonight, that it's very important to set a quick time early. Track temperatures are going to be probably the highest that they're going to be, actually, as it gets later into the evening here at Long Beach. The track temperatures will drop and it will get a little bit cooler. As there we go, we can see the drivers just, well, they didn't do it in race 1, Rob, but very important on your qualifying run to give everybody room and just get ready to start that hot lap.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a short circuit here that, you know, traffic is a big question here. I mean, you can get caught up pretty easy, so you need to get that space, you need to get that good run. It's not like Imola from last week. You know, cars can pull off to the left-hand side and give you room, but it's really hard here. It's a very short, narrow circuit, very, if I dare say, bring out the old Markscape. It's Monaco-esque in the way it's presented, but I think we might jump on one of the cars here. We'll do a bit of a track guide for everybody at home.
Yes, fantastic stuff. Currently watching Trust there, 1984, very similar to Monaco. Was that a car I saw that facing the other way? Anyway, as Nemo has been good enough to announce his retirement on tonight's live stream, saying this is going to be my last race. And, well, that's very sad indeed, and I'm sure that you're going to lose a bit of sleep about that one tonight, Rob, as we take a look at Ridey on bonnet cam. Don't we love this? Look at that through turn 1. Only joking, Nemo. We love you. Through turn 1, Aquarium Way, heading towards South Chestnut Place. In very American sounding corner names now, as through that turn 4 now, back onto, well, through turn 5 I should say, West Shoreline Drive, turn 6. Don't you dare bark while I'm on the live stream, Xena, my pet Maltese Shih Tzu. As down to turn 8 now, very important to get this one right, looking to take a wide entry and hit that apex. And beautiful there from Righty, so he is currently looking very good here to set a pretty competitive time. Down East Seaside Way, down the back straight, looking to come into the last 3 corners of this track. Turn 9.
On the brakes there.
A little bit late there. It's through turn 10, now into the final corner, the hairpin. Turn 11. If you can hear panting in the background, that's not me, despite this flu. But anyway, onto the main start finish straight now. Righty. Can he set a competitive time early in this session? He comes across the line. It is a 1:17.329. Not quick enough, though, to beat Fubbles on a 1:16.9. And have a look at that. The times are tumbling, Rob. A 1:16.1. Here comes Formula One Rocks across the line to start his lap. And no, in fact, he's just finished it. Oh, look at that. 007 James Bond style. He's very close. I tell you what, have a look at those times, Rob. What is going on? What a fantastic race we're having here.
Yeah, that will happen. We're just got to watch those times tumble. I mean, everybody's trying to get onto the circuit and trying to get that lap time. As we said, it's a shorter qualifying session. And Formula One Rocks gets up on the curbing there. It's a really hard piece of circuit there, that curbing. You don't want to get onto it too much. I've done it myself in the past. You get the car dancing on 2 wheels. It's almost like a circus trick, and you go into the wall. So he's just gone into the pit lane there, and he's going to start another lap. But yeah, it's interesting to see these cars dancing around as we see Nemo trying to get onto the power around West Shoreline Drive. As I said, this circuit's a bit slipperier than a lot of the other circuits we visit. It's you can have oversteer and understeer in the same corner, so it's going to be interesting to see how people deal with that. We know that, as we said, Formula One Rocks is a boss around here when it comes to putting a lap together or putting a race together. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what drivers can do around here.
Well, I tell you what, and have a look at the times. Like as you were talking there, Rob. Truss has set a 1:15.6. Here he comes again. Can he go better than that? He can. A 1:15.1. Only 7/10 off the world record. The new boy getting the job done here in the second qualifying session.
Yeah, he's not here to make friends. He's here to win races. And gee, he has been quicker than that in the practice sessions. I was driving against him with the Porsche, and he was setting times like a 1:14.6, which is only 2/10 off his world record. I don't think we'll be seeing that here tonight, but geez, yeah, for a short qualifying session, he's putting the goods together on a lap.
So HSV now the man on your screen, currently in P3. I tell you what, these times have tumbled, haven't they? I tell you what, drivers barely go. Oh, there we go, the back end out.
So easy to do it there. You get onto the brakes a little bit later. What a lot of people don't understand about the circuit is you can get onto the brakes extremely late, but you've got to have that car set up really nicely. If your car's a little bit too stiff at the rear end, since it's a street circuit, it will bite you back. And as you can see, if you get a little bit of rear locking, your car's going around the corner. But we'll stay on with HSVT here, or Dino as we like to call him, and see what he does for a whole lap, because certainly he's going to go for another one to get the tyres warmed up around here.
Here we go, bonnet cam HSV style now, is currently, like we mentioned, in P4, but have a look at those times, Rob.
Sweet.
P2 and P3 currently on a 1:15.752, identical times, and then Formula One Rocks way down in 7th. We thought a 16.1 was looking pretty good, but now it's currently a second off pole position as HSV. He's around, commentator's curse. It's definitely done straight back into the pit lane. Boy, that was quick, as Formula One Rocks now up into P2. A 1:15.2, still not good enough for pole position, Rob.
Well, we know that he's going to give it another go. He's doing the right thing. He's on the right-hand side, using a whole pit lane there. It's with the line for that corner. You have to use the whole pit lane. So if anybody's coming in for a pit stop or coming out for a pit stop might get caught up with a bit of racing traffic. But his car's really set up. It's doing really well around here. He's doing well around here. He's a little bit offline there. You want to get onto that curbing to help that rear end turn the car around. Otherwise, you end up in the tyres. You lose time. But gee, it doesn't look like he's on much of a lap here. His car's a little bit away from where the apex should be. But he's down to the second here, go up to third on East Side Way, coming down to turn 9. It's a very hard braking point here. So bumpy on the braking. There we go. Little cut bumps into the braking of the 150 metre board. Early turn in. Done a good job there. It's third around here, going down, and then a short shift. Sorry, not a short shift, shift down into the gears, onto the loud pedal as soon as you can. Your car's not fully turned when you come around there, when you get onto the loud pedal. It's a bit of a scary corner because your car is facing the wall when you're trying to get full throttle. But you can see he's got plenty of trust in the car to grip up at the right moment and not spin him around. I
see what you did there, Rob. Plenty of trust in that car. And speaking of truss, rather, oh my goodness me! Oh, I tell you what, bonnets have gone flying. So much for that. So much for the clean sheet that Formula One Rocks was keeping there with his car. Currently didn't have a repair bill. As well, we've got the results. Jeez, I tell you what a race we've seen in terms of accidents. I can't remember a race where we've seen this many accidents. As there's just over a minute left in qualifying tonight. And have a look at Truss, this man in the beautiful yellow Corvette. Like we said, currently making his debut in Tier 1 tonight. And he is straight on the pace, no mucking about. Like you said, he's not here to make friends. Across the line, has he gone quicker? No, he might be starting his final hot lap now.
Well, this is his last chance for a lap, and it's definitely the Formula One Rocks will cross the finish line with 15 seconds to go from his outlap, so he's going to have colder tyres. We forgot to mention that around here, it's hard to get tyre temperature in. It takes 3 laps to get the tyres actually working, but when you do that, those 3 laps have affected the tyres a bit, so you're going to have slightly warm tyres, not too bad, but takes a little bit to get those tyres warm enough to get a lap in here. But Truss is doing a good job. He's only 0.066 away from Formula One Rocks. So Formula One Rocks can smell the blood in the water. It's the honey badger on the back of Daniel Ricciardo's helmet has that on the back of his helmet there. But yes, it's going to be interesting to see in the last couple of seconds of this qualifying session to see if Truss can put his best foot forward and get the time in that's going to keep him away from Formula One Rocks, because we know what Formula One Rocks can do around here. But it's currently the last corner here to hairpin and see what he can do on the straightaway here, and see if he can put that V8 power in the Chef to use.
Here we go across the line then. Qualifying has finished at a 1:14.9. Wow, so Truss almost on world record pace as Formula One Rocks now 2/10 off pole. Is, well, it's not ideal, is it, dealing with traffic on your final hot lap as he comes around the circuit now as the sun sets here at Long Beach in California. Can Formula One Rocks take pole position? He's currently just matching those times at the moment, but he needs to pull something out of the bag here if he is going to take that pole position and continue his perfect record here at Long Beach. Here he comes through turns 9, 10, now 11, the last corner of the hairpin. Onto the start-finish straight, the long run towards the start-finish line. Here he comes. He's currently on a 1:15.2. Can he take pole position? No, he can't.
Well, you see, that's what I've been talking about. You get that traffic around there, and I don't know who that was. It might have been Nige Guns who provided him with a little bit of traffic there, but you lose tenths behind the car around here. It's really hard to get time on the circuit. So if you get caught up behind a car, you got to do that. But you know what? Second's not a bad starting position if you can get a good enough start, which I hope you can. Because the race 1, he got a terrible start. I think that's probably the concertina effect that helped the back markers there get into that big scrap and the cars flying everywhere. But Gee, race 2, what do you think is going to happen there, Trev?
Well, I tell you what, it's going to be absolutely, like I said, if it's half as exciting as race 1, we're in for an absolute treat again in race 2. But trust, 1984, what a magnificent effort. Let's just not forget how good an effort that is. He came from Tier 2 last week to Tier 1 this week. He got a promotion. He's playing with the big boys now, and he's just taken pole position in the second qualifying session he has ever raced in this championship. Quick mention of Tier 2 as well, Rob. It was Smokey winning from Knee 83 Thule, Pointy, Compact, Die for Nada, and Deaf Dude in the second tier as well. And it was Smokey taking pole position in that Tier 2. But it's all about Tier 1 at the moment. And 14 more laps to complete what has been an absolutely hectic and more often than not chaotic round 2 of this SRL Project Cars 2 Season 3. Anything can happen there as we see the 16 cars on the grid now. Lights on, ready to go racing here in race 2. And Formula One Rocks, I reckon he's going to have he's going to fancy himself there on that side, a clean side of the track, of course, and heading down into turn 1. He might have a go at Truss straight up into turn 1, Rob.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's gonna have the line there. I mean, it's the dirty side of the circuit as we see the race about to start, waiting for those red lights to go out. It's a very annoying part of the race weekend.
Here we go. We don't actually see those red lights, but they are out, and we are away, racing now. And Truss getting a perfect start, maintaining the lead. Formula One Rocks there, not getting a bad start. He's going to have a look at Truss down into turn 1.
He's going to have a dive here. He's got the line here. He's past Truss. A little bit of a hip and shoulder, that's fair. He needs to get past, but oh, gee, this might be an accident here into the roundabout. But yeah, good start from Truss. We saw Formula One Rocks there doing the right thing. He's a little bit slower off the start line. He dipped in behind Truss there. Get that slipstream so I can make a run into him into the first corner. But gee, he's coming in for another dive. He's going to get past. Truss he's saying, no way, Jose. He wants this race win bad.
Well, can you believe it? What a battle we're seeing on the streets here at Long Beach. Truss and Formula One Rocks side by side, heading down the back straight now. Formula One Rocks has taken the lead, but Truss he's not done with yet. He's just saying to Jono, there's a new sheriff in town. Look at that, no quarter given here. On lap 1, they are bumper to bumper. First, second, third, fourth and fifth, all in your screen here on lap 1. As through to complete lap 1 now, onto the start, finish straight, first and second, Truss in the slipstream there. Sub GT a little bit further back, a few tenths behind him, but it's all about this lead duo at the moment. And he's got through. Is he going to take the lead? No. Formula One Rocks holding the inside line into turn 1, and they've made contact. Contact between the two of them, and well, I reckon it's Truss who's come off worse out of that one, Rob, after that contact in turn 1.
Dare I say it, Trev, that he won't be on his Christmas card list this year. We like to say that here, but as it's one of those corners that happens. Formula Rocks trying to pick up a little bit too much power. He came into the corner a little bit more shallow than Truss. I was expecting him to get the run onto him into the roundabout, but gee, I don't think Truss is going to be too happy about that, but we still have pit stops to play out. They don't have to stop for any fuel or tyres, they just have to stop and go. But gee, Formula Rocks really wants his time to be undefeated around here.
I tell you what, boy, he wants it bad, doesn't he? He wants that perfect record, Rob. I'm so excited now. I've got to be careful. The voice isn't quite in peak condition this week, but I'm so excited now. I'm standing up. You know I mean business for anyone who's heard me say that before. And Big Alan Shep doesn't have his glasses on. But I tell you what, you might want to find a spare pair, Big Shep, because this is a fantastic battle here. What a battle we're seeing. I don't know about you, Rob, but I like this guy, Truss. I like this boy. Got a bit of biffo about him. Doesn't mind a bit of argy-bargy. He'll be on the comeback trail, and Formula One Rocks now under all sorts of pressure from Sub GT. Heading through the middle part of this race now, lap 3 out of 14. And coming down now through lap 3. Boy, what a battle we are seeing. Formula One Rocks is not giving up at all. Maintaining that lead ahead of Sub GT, and then Truss in P3. Hot on his heels now, down the back straight. Don't forget about Waffles there in P4, Righty in P5, the comeback kid Jace in P6. And look at this, further down the field, Nige Guns, HSV, Mighty Murph in 9th, Fubbles completing the top 10. Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind in 11th, Nemo in 12th. Announcing his retirement on the live stream. We might try and catch some of that press conference a little bit later. But have a look at this. The top 6 separated by just 3.5 seconds, Rob. What a race, what a championship we have got here on SRL.
Yeah, it's looking like a spicy race so far. I don't think there's been any major accidents. There's been a couple of people who've taken that first lap pit stops and don't have to do that pit stop anymore. They can just go for hell for leather, but Sub GT is looking very racy here against Full On Rocks, and gee, I think Truss would be licking his lips at this opportunity. We've seen Full On Rocks close the door on people. He's done it on Truss, but gee, if he closes the door a little bit too much in Sub GT, I do see a big crash. So I think Truss is going to stay behind this battle here, thinking about what's going to happen. And hopefully he doesn't want to, I don't think he wants to get racing, but gee, if he could do it with those two taking each other out, I think he's going to take that as a little gift, a little bit of a Christmas present to himself.
Well, here we go. It is around Christmas time, Rob. I know where you're coming from. First, second and third. Oh, here we go. The battle for the lead is on. Sub GT, in fact, has taken the lead, but Formula One Rock slots in behind him, and so does Truss to get the slipstream. Through into lap 5 now. First, second, third, all on your screen there, as you can see. And oh boy, this is going to end in down the inside. Is it going to end in tears? Oh no! Oh, Formula One Rocks takes the lead again. But Sub GT just behind him. Look at that, it's ever so close, isn't it? Truss still in P3. And now that's got Waffles interested in P4. All 4 of them going at it, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a Corvette sandwich there between the two Fords, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Sub does have the pace to get past Full On Rocks. Full On Rocks knows it. So you had to make that pass on the straight, slot in behind Sub, get that little bit of slipstream into the first corner, down the inside. It's a very sweet pass, very clean, but gee, if I was one of these top guys, I'd be thinking about making a quick pit stop, a quick trip to the pits, because, oh, here we go, Sub GT's looking very racy, getting on the rear diffuser of that Ford GT. Gee, I can't take my eyes off this battle there, Trev.
Either can all 16 people watching this stream. This is absolutely magnificent. Will pit stop strategy come into play? I think that's the last thing on the minds of everyone racing here, as I've just ditched the office chair and I'm standing up now just to give my lungs a better chance to call this action. And what an exciting race we've got, already approaching half distance in this one. And it's first, second, third and fourth, all separated by less than a second. I'm as excited as you are, Neil Haynes 05. Bloody awesome, he says. Take a bow. What racing we've got here at Long Beach, Rob.
Yeah, it's looking great. You saw Sub GT there going into the roundabout. He locked his front right there and it gave Truss a little sniff, and Sub GT's gone wide there. So Truss is through and he's going to have a look at that rear end of Full On Rocks and thinks he's going to be thinking about what he can do to get past. But yeah, those Corvettes are very quick on the straight. We've mentioned in the past, especially the last stream we did. But gee, Full On Rocks is providing the goods. He's defending it. He's getting past when he needs to get past. Waffles gone past. The Sub GT is there as well. But the battle's died down a little bit here. We've got Truss and Waffles is going to... Oh, Truss is in the pit lane. So this is what I'm talking about. He's going to take that pit stop and get some fresh air. Hopefully he doesn't come out behind anybody else who's already done a stop. But it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. He can go max speed. He's not going to have to worry about Full On Rocks in front of him. He's going to have that clear air, because we know these cars suffer with a little bit of air loss when they're tucked in behind another car. So let's see if he can put that to good use. Well, hopefully though, Trev, that the old commentator's curse doesn't come into play here like it did last week when I said that Nige Guns should come in for a pit stop. He did, and he came out behind Formula 1 Rocks.
Well, let's hope that the famous commentator's curse does not play a role here tonight. As we also see Jason Wilco, Big Al's man, coming into the pits. But Formula 1 Rocks, well, can the undercut work here tonight? Of course, mandatory pit stop, like we mentioned. You don't need to change tyres. And so many questions in terms of strategy. We mentioned in race 1, do you go into the soft tyres? Do you go into the hard tyres? That is the question. But Formula 1 Rocks there, Rob, look at that, a 1:15.8. My goodness me, he's very slippery at the moment. I tell you what, there's a car stopped on the track there, and it's almost in the way of Jono as that car gets out of the way there.
That's good from the traffic there. Yeah, that's good from the traffic there. That's what we like to see. If you're not fighting for position, you don't want to hamper the guy in front's progress. But we've got Sub GT and Waffles in the pit lane as well, so they're going to be doing the same thing as a Truss there, trying to get that clear air, but I think that might put them back to Truss, as Truss is going to have two cars deal with there if he's going to be behind or in front of them. But Formula 1 Rocks is looking pretty good for this race. He's got to put that performance in though. We know that Ford GT is quick enough around here, but anything can happen in motorsport.
Well, I reckon we said a pit stop should be about 40 seconds, and Truss has come out exactly 40 seconds behind Formula 1 Rocks here, lap 18 out of 14. As we see more people into the pits, Sub GT Racer into the pits now as well. Into the pits and indeed out again, and Waffles as well in the Ford coming in. And here is Truss now on your screen.
Truss has gotten past those two who have done a pit, so he's going to have a little bit of breathing room. But let's not forget that Sub GT is going to be right on his clacker there. He's not going to let him rest too easy, but you know, he's got that little bit of clear air in front of him. He can put in the lap times. We know how quick he is. He's moved up from tier 2 to tier 1, so let's see if he can put the performance into past Formula 1 Rocks and maybe break Formula 1 Rocks' stranglehold of this circuit.
Well, I tell you what, we love to see this. Right up the clacker is the technical term we like to use in the commentary box for very, very close. If anyone decides to look it up in the Oxford Dictionary. Big hello, like we always mention, our people, our big fans out there on the live stream. 17 people watching, Rob, no pressure. Alan, Neil, everybody on the live stream. James, Barton. About 6 other people called Elliot as well. Fantastic to have everybody's company as here we go, Truss. The pit stop strategy. Oh, here we go. Nige Guns is also in the pits, but here comes Truss now. He's got up to P3 across the line, lap 9 out of 14. And, well, 5 laps remaining until the end of this one. And the new boy has caused, he's caused a bit of a stir, hasn't he, Rob? He's come up from tier 2 into tier 1. And he's absolutely tearing this one to shreds, but it's still Formula 1 Rocks leading this one now, a 1:16.0 last time around. And Mighty Murph as well into the 1:16, so this could be anybody's race here tonight.
Yeah, Formula 1 Rocks just coming to the pit lane, so it'll be interesting to see how they cycle through. But we better give old mate Jace some airtime here, because we know he likes a bit of attention on himself. He's up in the 5th. I don't know if he's done a pit stop yet, but that's going to be a good result for him. We go through the cycle here. We've got Waffles in the P6, so might have had a little bit of an accident, might have had a little spin. That car does look clean, but he's a bit behind Sub and Truss there. So that's going to be interesting to see what he can do from that position. But Formula 1 Rocks, here we go. He's coming out of his pit box, coming back onto the circuit. We'll jump on board with Truss to see what happens. This could be very, very close there, Trev.
Here we go. You know the drill. You watch the track, I'll watch the pit lane. Here comes Truss. Is the undercut going to work? He comes across the start-finish line. Where is Formula 1 Rocks, I hear you ask?
He's on the circuit, so he's gotten a good jump there on Truss there.
And, well, Formula 1 Rocks has taken, well, effectively what should be a net first place. And we saw it, didn't we, Rob? He was putting in those super quick lap times. He was into the 1:15s. Wasn't he, after Truss made his pit stop? So it looks like the hard work has paid off, as you can see there. Look at that gap now, 5 seconds back to Truss.
Yeah, it's amazing what's happened. So, from what I can gather with these GTE cars, it's actually quicker to do the overcut than the undercut. So, when you do the undercut, you come in a bit earlier than the guy in front to try and get that speed when you come out of the pits. But it seems like the overcut's working a lot better in these cars than I would have expected.
No doubt about that. And Mighty Murph, look at that, lap 10 out of 14, still in the lead. I'm not too sure whether he'll want some airtime as a sub GT. Well, it didn't work out too good for him either, did it? He's currently slotting in behind Truss there as Mighty Murph now. Here he goes, our favourite Kiwi through into lap 11. When is he going to stop? That is the question. A 1:16.4 last time around. We didn't mention him enough on the live stream last week. We didn't give him enough love. Well, we're going to ride on board with you for at least a corner or two, Rob, because this man... The top bloke, Alan Suter, bonnet cam. That's, geez, I tell you what, he is getting all the VIP treatment here tonight on the live stream. As 22 people have tuned in now. Oh my goodness gracious me, Rob. We have gone viral here tonight.
Yes, we've gone viral just like the iFlow. You've probably still got a little bit of a throat infection now. I feel sorry for you in the morning, but hopefully that little bit of whiskey is going to help you. But, gee, Mighty Murph is driving really, really clean here. He's keeping that car off the walls. He's using the right parts of the track. Gee, I think you're loving this little bit of attention. He's coming into the pits here, so that's going to be interesting to see where he comes out. Should come out round about just behind Waffles, I think. Just in front of Fubbles there, so... he'll be about 2 seconds in front of Bubbles, so it'll be interesting to see how that battle shapes out. But we've only got 11 laps, 12 laps now, 2 laps left, so it's going to be interesting to see who can make the big moving and shaking of the results here.
And here he is, speaking of moving and shaking, this is the Shake and Bake man, Formula One Rocks into the lead. Somebody was... just relieving themselves of a front, some bodywork there on one of those cars. I didn't quite see who that was, but there was a car. I shouldn't say they were relieving themselves, Rob. 9:22 p.m. I don't know whether we can say that sort of naughty stuff at the moment, but trust, look at this battle. Second and third. I don't care if my throat's going to be sore tomorrow because this is one epic battle. And nothing between them at the moment as Formula One Rocks is about 4 seconds further on down the road, but this is the battle for P2 between Truss, the new boy, and Sub GT Racer, with Jason a further 9 seconds behind him. And we've given him his airtime tonight as well. He's the man that pays our bills for anyone watching up at the commentary box as well and organises all of our stuff. Great work, Jace. We love you. But let's have a look at this third and second going at it. And can Truss hold on to P2? Was that a bit of a nudge? It could have been. But 2 laps remaining. In fact, yep, here we go, the penultimate lap of this race. Lap 13 out of 14. Formula One Rock sitting pretty in P1, 5 seconds ahead of this battle. But where is he going to have a go at him, Rob?
Well, it's interesting to see Sub GT's car here. It's a lot pointier than Truss's. You can see he's able to get that front end a little bit more pointed into the corner before Truss. So Truss is going to have a little bit of a hard time defending, but he has dropped back a little bit. I think he's a little bit slower in the first sector, but gee, I think Truss on his second outing with a Tier 1, he's going to be wanting that top spot.
No doubt about that, and let's have a look at that. 18 viewers currently, 84 comments, nearing the big 30, the big 3-digit mark on the comments. Keep them coming in. We'll try and get to our winners in the post-race. And Nemo saying, hey guys, my last night in this league, thanks for the memories, even if they weren't so great. Anyway, we'll look at that. We'll put the singing aside for the moment, because this is the battle so far of this race. Second and third, side by side, out of the last corner. Look at this. Does it get much closer than this? The gap, 1/10 of a second. Truss holding on to P2 at the moment, but for how long? As we start the last lap of this race, I can barely breathe, Rob.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's barely a B's phallus in there. We can't say the other word because we might get banned from YouTube, but gee, Sub is looking really, really quick, but he's only got 1 lap to do it, so is he going to do the strategy of win it or bin it, as Mark Scape would say?
You might say that the sting has not gone out of this one. Oh, geez, you thought we were going to stop at egg puns. You were wrong. As here we go, lap 14, 6 seconds up the road is Formula One Rocks. He wins every bloody week, though. That's boring. We want to watch this battle, don't we, Rob? And so does everybody at home. All 21 people watching the live stream here tonight. Oh, my goodness, that was awfully close. Don't look in the mirrors. Good advice, Neil. Here we go, Sub GT, hot on the heels of Trust there in P2. Should we be looking at our lead man? I know we should be. As he comes across the line, we'll get to that battle, back to that battle soon, as Formula One Rocks crosses the line to take victory here in race 2 and continue his perfect record, but the battle for second, the race is still on, and Truss holds on to P2 here at Long Beach in race 2. A fantastic performance by him in his first race in the big time. Sub GT in third as Waffles a further 10 seconds back. I'm not sure what happened to Jace there, but he's currently in P6, but Waffles takes P4 after his podium, 2 podiums in the opening 2 races and rounds of this season. Mighty Murph says, oh, I'm pretty happy with that after I led for about 11 laps or so, but I'm pretty happy with 5th place in the end. And Simba just bringing his man Jason home in P6. Big Shep, crack open a frothy for your man Jason as it's Fubbles across the line. And now Mickey. Oh my goodness, it's Movember, and I tell you what, that moustache doesn't look like it's holding on by much at the front there, Rob.
Yeah, no, that car looks a little bit worse for wear. I'm surprised that, I'm actually glad that it's not a real racing league, because could you imagine the damage bill? I think it'd be well into the millions by now. But yeah, Mikey SR is coming across the line here for 8th place, so he's going to pick up a couple of points there, so that's going to be good for his little championship battle with everybody else. But gee, Formula One Rocks undefeated at this circuit. That's an unbelievable record he's got there. Well done to him. A
perfect record continues in this season at this circuit. You name it, he does it all. And I tell you what, but, well, I reckon Truss might have announced himself, though. And fantastic race. Good job, boys, on the calling. Very nice of you to say that. Very nice comments coming in on the live stream. But it's Formula One Rocks as we recap the results here tonight at Long Beach. Race 2, round 2 of Season 3 of SRL Project Cars. Truss taking 2nd place just by the skin of his teeth ahead of Sub GT Racer in P3. Waffles and Bits continuing his good form this season in P4. Then it was Mighty Murph in P5, representing New Zealand there in P5 ahead of Jason Wilkinson. And Big Shep is going to crack open a frothy for you in P6 there. Fubbles in P7. Then it was Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey in P8. Then it was HSV. What happened to our man, Dean McKinnon, in P9, I wonder? And Nige Guns in P10. Disappointing for him. And I think that's just about everyone who finished. No, in fact, 9th and 10th, they're retired, as you can see on your screen. But what a night of action here tonight, Rob Dog. And Big Shep just saying he's going to get stuck into the drinks. Well done, mate. And Rick Elliott saying, you're my hero, Rob Dog. You legend.
Hey, boss.
Oh, so I've invited the boys. Full-on. That's what a record you got going here. Do you think you can keep that going in the next future races?
Oh, I don't know, mate. It's pretty difficult. Very close. Really difficult battles.
Now, Jono, you just, like everyone at home, our beloved regulars and long-term listeners, Rob, know that our man Jono is a man of very few words. Let's, just leaves his talking to the track, but you've got to just take a moment, mate, to just reflect on that performance, and especially, well, the start of this season. Let me just recap. First last week, first, and you've finished there pretty much, well, every race. Season 1 first, Season 2 first, and now Season 3. What do you put that perfect record down to here at Long Beach, mate? Does the track just suit you?
Yeah, thanks, mate. I think it does suit me pretty well. I like street tracks a lot. So yeah, it does suit me. It's a lot of fun. Makes you push really hard too. So yeah, I'd say they do suit me pretty well.
Now I'll just sorry, Rob. I'll let you ask another question there.
Oh yeah, so that was a really interesting battle in the second race there, mate. Gee, you made that Ford GT really, really wide, but you just seem to have a lot of pace.
Yeah, it was. I did have to make it pretty wide. I knew track position is really important because it's just really hard to get an advantage when you're racing like that, battling like that in these cars. So I knew how to, as soon as I got past, I knew how to get straight back. So yeah, good fun. 6 for the boys for the battle.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations on another premium performance tonight, Jono. And just a quick question before I let you go, mate. That battle earlier in the race, what was it like being a part of that? Was it very intense and good close racing? A lot of respect between each of the drivers there.
Yeah, super intense, mate. But that's what makes it real fun. So thanks for the boys. Real good fun.
Good stuff. All right, congratulations, Jono. Fantastic. You'd reckon it was his birthday every week the way he's driving. So first last week and first in both of the Super Sprint rounds tonight. Jono, well done, mate, and all the best as we head to Sakito next week for round 3. Congratulations.
Thanks, boys. Thanks very much.
Well
So,
done.
Rob, there we have it. We've got a few more comments there on the live stream, but we're just going to wait. Are we trying to get our man Truss, the new boy, into the party, are we, at the moment?
Yeah, he's in the party. Let's see if he can talk. Might be a bit of a mute, so we'll see if he can talk to us. Truss, you there, mate?
Yeah.
Gee, well, tier 2 last week, tier 1 this week. Race 1 didn't go the way you wanted it to, but gee, race 2, you really had some pace. A little bit unfortunate with the early pit stop there, might have hampered your progress, but gee, good battle there with Sub GT. So this must be confidence inspiring for you next week.
Yeah. No, race 2 was pretty good. I got I lost a bit of time in the pits. I don't know what through, but I probably lost 3 or 4 seconds just through pits. And then yeah, I just thought I'd just pit a bit early, just being behind Sub and Formula 1. Like, you know, I thought I was a little bit quicker, so I pulled in just to, you know, try and once they pit, just, you know, overlap sort of thing. But yeah, it sort of didn't pan out that way. But at the start, it was a pretty good race, and yeah, it was good fun.
Now, Truss, first of all, congratulations on P2 tonight, mate. As you mentioned, or as Rob mentioned, I should say, you started in Tier 2 last week, mate, and what a performance tonight. You've just come in and absolutely torn it to shreds, mate. What do you put your pace down to, mate? Is it just practice, or you just natural talent, my friend? What do you put it down to?
Natural talent? Oh, I wouldn't say that. You'd be looking at Subby for natural talent.
You're a class act.
I'd just put it down to practice, eh? You know, you got to put the time on the track to get your car right. And my car, well, both races, my cars weren't right, so they were a little bit loose in certain parts of the track. But you know, you can't make a car go around the track perfect every lap after lap. So yeah, you got to put the time into, you know, just sort of be up the pace.
Well, fantastic stuff there, Truss. And I've got to tell you, mate, if you just happen to have a look back at the live stream, mate, you are absolutely, I'll tell you what, you're trending on our top chat list. Just hashtag Truss1984. You are doing magnificently, mate. You're a man of the people. The fans love you, mate. Congratulations on tonight and all the best. Hopefully you can continue that form going into next week.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
No worries, thanks, mate. Fantastic performance. That was the man. You heard his voice here first, exclusively live on our channel. And Rob, what a just a laid back and very calm character, isn't he, our man Truss? Just to tell you what, I'm starting to like this man.
Yeah, he seems like he knows his stuff. Majority of the time, the laid-back ones are the quiet ones, but they do the talking on the track. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do next week. But we got Sub GT in the chat here, and Sub, gee, towards the end of the race, that car looked really pointy, really racy. Gee, I'm surprised you just didn't lick stamp and sent down the inside of Truss.
Yeah, I didn't want to end it for both of us. Actually, we were pretty close, and I just thought I'd sit on the back of him and pressure him a bit without sort of doing a dive bomb and ruining both of our races. So I was quite happy to finishing third behind him. He's a good racer, as is F1. So yeah, no, I was happy just to sit and perhaps wait for a mistake, but it didn't come. He's a good racer.
And tell us a bit about that battle early on in the race, mate. I think at one point we had all four, or the top four, I should say. I think it was less than a second within each other. What was it like to be part of that battle, mate? Nice, clean racing and very close, but no contact, and you could really trust the guys around you.
That's right. That's what it's all about. Give her a little bit of space, and if the person beside you has the inside part of the apex, give it to them. It's not worth sort of running into each other just for one position. So I think there's a lot of respect up front there. So it was good.
And you've got to be happy with your performance tonight, mate. A double podium finish, P2 in race 1 and now P3 in race 2, I should say. A good haul of points, and like we said, it's a long season, 11 rounds for this season, so it's all about collecting those points, and you never know what could happen later in the season.
Very true. No, it was thoroughly enjoyable. Thanks to everybody involved. Thanks, guys.
Great stuff. So that's our man. Thanks for joining us, Sub GT, and we will see you next week in Japan for round 3. We'll catch you next week, mate.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Very smart and wise words there from Sub GT. Well, I tell you what, unless we're going to talk to anyone else, Rob, I reckon, what do we got, 9:37? I reckon we're almost done here for another action-packed week. And, mate, what a week it's been. Unbelievable stuff. Plenty of carnage, plenty of argy-bargy, and, well, Formula One rocks, though, still taking the wins.
Yeah, it's good, respectful racing between everybody there, especially with the front three. But we'll see if we can get Jason here because he loves his airtime. We'll ask him about what happened in that first race because we need to see what happened with that first crash.
And we'll just wait for what a couple of races. The comments still coming in on the live stream. Nemo, the end of an era, the end of an age, as they say. Nemo is pretty annoyed. He's not coming back next week. We might try and get his press conference a little bit later on in proceedings. We might get a snippet from that, Rob. He's just announcing his retirement. As well, just talk about filling airtime to the man himself. Big Wilco's joined us. And Big Shep's having a frothy for you, Jace. What a race. Tell us about, what happened to you, mate?
What didn't happen to me? That's the real question. Race 1, got caught up in that incident, ripped my rear wing off and had nothing, so I thought, what's the point of having a 30-second pit stop? And then that race was alright. I was sitting right behind the front group and pitted with Truss. I think I might have held you up in the pits, Truss, as I was coming down the pit lane. I'm not sure, but then I come out and then Righty served his drive-through and his screen went black going into the turn 4, I think it was, and his car hit the wall and was rolling back as I'm driving through, blind corner, collected him, 16 damage on the front, hitting 230 on the front straight, and Waffles caught me, and then I spun it on the second last lap right in front of Waffles. I don't know if it was lag or anything, but then I got stuck in first as I was trying to reverse off the wall and 100 rear wing damage again. So awesome race, awesome round.
I tell you what, no arguments there, and I tell you what a race. I mean, like we said during the course of the live stream, we'd hate to be picking up the repair bill, but 2 action-packed races. That's as wild as you will ever see. Those immortal words, Rob, from the great man Mark Scaife. But, fantastic stuff, Jace. I'd say what, better luck for you next week, mate. We're calling you the comeback kid, but hopefully you can come back next week.
Coming back this week, yeah. Well, we'll see if I come back next week. Might pull the pin like Nemo, he cracked the shits with me, so whatever, I don't give a shit. See you, mate.
Oh, those.
Anyway,
never mind. Can we say that live on air? Never mind anyway, Jace.
I've said it, so I don't really care.
Different rules for our man Wilco, who just, for everyone at home, puts in a tremendous amount of effort, a lot of time, and a lot of effort into this league. But I think we're almost done here. Big thanks to everybody who watched tonight. Neil, Smokey, all the Elliots.
Oh yeah, Smokey, you'll be replacing Nemo, by the way.
Yep. Who replaces?
Hot news there. Nemo, Smokey, you're replacing it.
Yep, so everyone, tell you what, the driver market up and about early in this season. We're only into round 2. But Jace, thank you very much for your company again, mate.
Yes, thank you. Catch you all next week.
We'll see Wilco next week. Have a beer with Big Al. Say hi to him and give him a hug for me there tomorrow when you get into work. And Rob, the end of another, well, action-packed round. Plenty of action, plenty happening, mate. Fantastic to have your company again for another week. Thanks for just keeping me going and that support. I know you've always got my back, mate, as I'm coming off a bit of a case of the flu. But thanks again, mate. And wow, what a frantic start of the season we've had.
Yeah, mate, that was a fantastic race, and I'll always look after a brother with a bit of man flu because we know how bad that is. But I think Jace might be wanting his position back in the commentary box, but I might tell him to go get stuff because it's pretty comfortable here.
Yep.
But we move on to Sakito. It's a very fast circuit, very interesting first sector, but it'll be good to have everybody tune in because we love each and every one of you.
We certainly do. Sakito next week, of course, 21 laps, all the action live and exclusive on this Kid Buyers channel. And I want to see everybody who's commented on the live stream tonight to make sure they are subscribed to this channel because this is the only place you're going to see all the action live and exclusive. Next week, we're going to do it all over again, Rob. 8 p.m. live and exclusive. 8 p.m. Eastern Australian time, daylight saving time, I should say. Half an hour for you, Rob, over there in South Australia. But www.supremeracingleague.com if you want to get involved. Big thanks to everybody for watching this week. Don't forget to join us again next week. But for now, it's good night.